Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming to Rio Mesa Drama Club's production of House on Haunted Hill. We really appreciate everybody being here, and we hope you enjoyed the show. If you guys would like to, in the description of this live, we have a link to the playbill, which gives you a description of all our cast and crew members, as well as a link you could go to so you can donate to our club. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Good evening. I'm Frederick Lauren, and I've rented the house on Haunted Hill tonight so that my wife can give a party. A haunted house party. She's so amusing. There'll be food and drink and ghosts, and perhaps even a few murders. You're all invited. If any of you should spend the next 12 hours in this house, I'll give you each $10,000. Or your next of kin if you don't survive. But here are our other guests. This is Lance Schroeder, a test pilot. So, no doubt a brave man. But don't you think you could be much braver if you were paid for it? And I happen to know that Lance needs the 10,000 that I'll give him, if he's brave enough to stay the night. This is Ruth Bridgers. You've no doubt read her column in the newspapers. She says her reason for coming to the party is to write a feature article on ghosts. She's also desperate for money. Gambles. This is Watson Pritchard, a man living in mortal fear of a house, and yet he's risking his life to stay another night here. I wonder why. He says for money. This is Eleanor Price, an actress. She says she's here to conduct research for her next film and that she has no need of tonight's $10,000 reward. But something tells me otherwise. This is Dr. David Trent, a psychiatrist. He claims my ghosts will help his work on hysteria, but don't you see a little touch of greed there, around the mouth and eyes? And finally, this is Nora Manning. I've picked her from the thousands of people who work for me because she needs a 10,000 more than most. Supports her whole family. Isn't she pretty? The party is starting now, and you have until midnight to find a house on Haunted Hill.
Well, where is everybody?
It isn't a very warm welcome, is it?
Only the ghosts in this house are glad we're here.
Are we all strangers to each other? Don't you two know each other?
Oh, I'm afraid I don't even know your name.
Nora Manning.
Lance Schroeder.
Is Frederick Lauren a friend of yours?
Well, I've heard of him, obviously, but I've actually never met the guy.
I work for one of his companies, but I've never seen him.
I've never met the man either, just a phone call. Do you know him?
Oh.
What about you?
No.
Then you're the only one of us who does.
I don't know him. All the details about renting the house were done by mail.
Quite wealthy, isn't it?
Millions.
Ah, yes. 5 wives, I believe.
4, I think. So far.
A $60,000 party for only 6 people is a little steep, even for a millionaire.
Well, if I was gonna haunt anybody, this is certainly the place I'd do it in.
Since it was built over a century ago, 8 people, including my brother, have been murdered in it. Since then, I've owned the house. I've only spent one night here, and when they found me in the morning, I was almost dead.
Mr. Lauren will be with you shortly. Annabelle, our guests are almost here. Is your face on yet?
Dust and dirt everywhere. The water barely trickles. Couldn't you have paid to have the place cleaned?
Atmosphere, darling. You know how ghosts are. They never tidy up. That's a very fetching outfit, but hardly suitable for a party.
I'm not going to the party.
The spend the night ghost party was your idea. Remember? Since it's going to cost me $60,000, I want you to have fun.
The party was my idea, until you invited the guests. Why all these strangers? Why none of our friends?
Friends? Do we have any friends?
No. Your jealousy took care of that.
I had a reason for inviting each guest. I wanted kind of a cross-section, from psychiatrist to typist, and from drunk to test pilot. They share one thing. They all need money. Now, let's see if they're brave enough to earn it.
And you call this a party?
Could be.
Why must you do that? It spoils the champagne.
It might explode.
Never does.
Would you guarantee that?
This isn't funny, Frederick.
It would make a good headline. Playboy kills wife with champagne cork. Would you join me?
No, thank you.
Just a sip? It might improve your humor.
My humor is just fine, thanks. And I haven't poisoned it.
It's always good to know that. Have some. You'll enjoy the party more. Go on.
Your trust is so touching. But I'm not going to the party.
Of all my wives, you're the least agreeable.
But still alive.
Would you go away for $1 million? Tax-free? You want it all, don't you?
I deserve it all. Your jealousy isn't tax-free, and your possessiveness is maddening.
If ever man had grounds for divorce.
But can't prove them.
The time will come. You'll slip up one of these days.
You think so?
If I live long enough. Do you remember the fun we had when you poisoned me?
Something you ate, the doctor said.
Yes, arsenic on the rocks. Annabelle, you'd do it again if you thought you could get away with it. Wouldn't you?
Darling, what would ever make you think that?
Something about you. I hear hanging is very uncomfortable in case you get any more ideas. Don't let the ghosts and ghouls disturb you, darling.
Darling, the only ghoul in this house is you.
And don't sit up all night thinking of ways to get rid of me. It makes wrinkles.
This is what she used on my brother and her sister. Hacked them to pieces. We found parts of their bodies all over the house, in places you wouldn't think. The funny thing is, the heads have never been found. Hands and feet and things like that, but no heads.
The wife, probably in a jealous rage, threatened her husband with a knife and then, carried away by hysteria, took a swing at him and simply went on from there.
She certainly went on. How many people did you say she killed, Mr. Pritchard?
Only 2. My brother and her sister. No one else was here.
So you're saying there are 2 loose heads just floating around in here somewhere?
You can hear them at night. They whisper to each other, and then they cry.
Well, I, for one, am tired of waiting on our host. Would anyone care to pour Lady a drink?
Certainly. What would you like to have?
Good evening. I'm your host, Frederick Lorne. Since we're all strangers to each other, let's get acquainted with a drink, shall we?
Mr. Lauren, I'd advise you to call this party off now. The ghosts are already moving, and that's a bad sign.
Let me apologize for my wife. She'll join us later. What will you have, Miss Price?
Scotch.
Doctor?
The same.
Now, before the party begins, let's go over the details. The caretakers will leave at midnight, locking us in here until they've come back in the morning. Once the door is locked, there is no way out. The windows have bars that a jail will be proud of, and the only door to the outside locks like a vault. There is no phone, no one within miles, so no way to call for help.
Like a coffin.
So if any of you decide not to stay for the party, you must let me know before midnight. Of course, if you leave, I won't be able to pay you anything.
I'm interested for your reasons for this party, aside from pleasant company.
Ghosts, Doctor. I think everyone wonders what they would do if they saw a ghost, and now my wife has given us all the opportunity to find out.
Amusing. Ghosts, etc. Only beings of hysteria. Your party should be a success.
But Pritchard here promises us genuine ghosts.
8 now. Maybe more before morning.
That's cheerful.
4 men have been murdered in this house. And 4 women.
Well then, you planned this party very well, Mr. Lauren. 4 of us are men, 4 of us are women. 8 ghosts for everyone.
Well, Pritchard, why don't you take us on a tour of the house, and let's see what happens.
Okay, follow me. See that stain? Blood. A young girl was killed here, and whatever got her wasn't human. Don't stand there.
What do you mean? Where?
It's too late. They've marked you.
Ridiculous. The roof probably leaks.
Must be it. I mean, who would want to haunt me?
I would say any self-respecting male ghost.
I hope it doesn't come back.
Well, Mr. Pritchard, you are the life of the party.
He hasn't even started yet. Wasn't there a man who threw his wife into a wine vat or something?
That was in the cellar. There's been a murder in almost every room of this house.
Whoa, isn't that just cheery?
All of this belonged to Mr. Norton, who didn't die here. He was electrocuted later. Mr. Norton did a lot of experimenting with wine, but his wife didn't think it was any good. So he filled the vat with acid and threw her in. She was supposed to have stayed down, but the bones came right back up. It's a funny thing that none of the murders here were just ordinary. They've all been sort of wild, violent, and different. Thank God she didn't fall in.
You mean there's still acid in there?
It destroys everything with hair and flesh. Just leaves the bones. It's dry and dusty down here.
Well, there's a cure for that upstairs. Come on.
So, how did you get invited to this party? I mean, what did the host tell you?
Mr. Lawrence said that everybody will get $10,000.
Yeah, but he didn't say anything about being locked in the entire night, did he?
No. What did he tell you?
Well, he made the deal with me over the phone, but he never said anything about having to stay the whole time.
Aren't you going to stay?
Well, of course I am. If I don't, I lose $10,000.
I'm going to stay too.
So, Do you believe in ghosts?
I don't know.
Well, I agree with what the doc says. You can spook yourself. I've done it in planes, seeing things that weren't really there. Or were they? So, what are you gonna do with your 10,000 if we get it?
What do you mean if we get it? Won't he pay us if we stay?
Oh, I'm sure he will. $10,000 to a guy like him is nothing more than a nickel is to us. But wow, this is some house.
We were in an automobile accident, and now I'm the only one in the family who can make any money. Lance. Lance? Lance! Please, Lance is gone and there's a ghost!
Ghost?
What I mean?
Please, come on!
Did you say Lance is gone? Gone where?
I wouldn't go if I were you.
Like hell?
Are you alright?
Nothing money won't cure. I must have bumped my head down there.
The only way you could have bumped your head down there was running straight into a wall. You didn't do that, did you?
No, of course not.
Good. Let's get a bandage on that.
Abigail,
Yes?
Mr. Schroeder needs a bandage. See to it.
I wonder why they didn't kill him.
Oh,
He didn't bump his head. They hit him.
they?
I'll take those.
Nora, when you came in, you said something about a ghost.
There was something.
Well, what did it look like?
Well, it was wearing a black thing that went all the way down to the floor.
Weren't you a little frightened at that time?
Well, yes.
That, Mr. Lauren, is hysteria.
Oh, Doctor, how do you explain what happened to Lance? Was that hysteria too?
You best get that checked in a day or so.
Thanks, Doc.
Which way is the restroom?
This way.
Meet me in the cellar.
The ghosts are coming closer, Mr. Lauren.
You really believe in your pet ghosts, don't you, Pritchard?
Before the night's over, you will too.
Would you like a drink, Lance? Might help with that headache.
No thank you.
I'd like one. Scotch.
I'll take a scotch as well. Mr. Lauren, are you really going to pay anyone who stays all night?
Certainly. $10,000.
Will there be much red tape or delays?
In a hurry, dear?
Frankly, yes. Or frantically.
Here you are, my dear.
How good are you at gin?
Nora, someone or something was in here earlier, but if you were standing there, how did it get out? What you saw might have been a ghost, Nora, but what hit me was not.
I don't know. I was so scared.
Does that sound different to you?
Yes. Lance, I saw it again.
Where did it go? Well, if it ran out that way, I would have seen it.
Lance, it doesn't run, it floats.
Okay, sure, but why didn't I see it?
You don't believe me?
How can I, Nora?
Hello, I'm Annabelle Lauren. You must be Miss Manning. I realize this is a rather dull and very unusual party. Would you like to freshen up?
That would be nice.
Follow me. This is your room. Depressing, isn't it?
I doubt if I'll spend much time here.
Rain. The perfect atmosphere for my husband's party. Why did you come here?
He said he would give me $10,000.
Why you?
I don't know. My supervisor just came and said I was invited.
How long have you known my husband?
I just met him tonight.
So, why you? What were you doing wandering around this house all by yourself?
I was in the cellar with Lance, Mr. Schroeder. I just left, that's all.
Well, don't do it again. Don't go anywhere in this house by yourself. I'll
But-
come for you in a few minutes.
But
You're in danger. We all are.
but who?
I hope for your sake you never find out. Oh, hello. I'm Annabelle Lauren. Are you looking for something?
Well, not exactly.
Are you the doctor?
No, I'm Lance Schroeder.
The pilot? You've hurt yourself.
It's just a bump on the head. Say, which is my room?
Oh, I believe this is it.
Thank you, Mrs. Lauren.
Annabelle. Lance, you were with that young girl in the cellar earlier. Tell me, why was she so upset?
Oh, was she?
And you don't look like the type to go around bumping his head. So tell me, what really happened? Lance.
Well, you see, Nora thought she saw a ghost, but I didn't see anything.
So she was just frightened then?
Yeah, and mad at me, I think. I kidded her about it afterwards.
Well, I wouldn't joke about anything that happens here tonight.
Wait. Don't tell me you're taking all of this seriously, too.
Are you?
Well, I mean, I'd like to find out what hit me.
Lance, if I needed help, could I count on you?
Sure, I guess so. Look, what's really going on here? I mean, what's with this party business?
Well, this is no party. He's planning something.
Your husband?
I just wish I knew what it was.
Well, must be pretty big if he's gonna lay out $60,000 for it.
Oh, money doesn't mean anything to him. He has his own reason for having us up here in this dreadful old house.
But what for? He doesn't even know us.
Maybe that's exactly why you're here.
Well, what could he get away with?
Oh, he thinks money like his can get away with anything. You know, of course, that I'm his fourth wife. The first simply disappeared. The other two died. Lance, I don't want to join them.
What, you mean he...
His doctors say they died of heart attacks. Two girls in their 20s.
Well, what can he do?
My husband is sometimes insane with jealousy. Nothing matters to him then.
Would he hurt you?
He would kill me if he could. I'd better be going. Please be careful, Lance.
Annabelle, you're missing all the fun. Nora Manning saw a ghost and the pilot bashed his head in.
Is he badly hurt?
The saturnine psychiatrist bandaged him up. Don't you want to console him like you do most men?
You're so clever, Frederick.
Yes, I lie awake nights wondering why I married you. It was rather a mistake.
You didn't marry me, dear. I married you. Unpleasant, but no mistake.
Go finish getting dressed, dear.
Frederick, for the last time, I am not going to your party.
And for the last time, it's not my party, but yours. And you are going. Annabelle, would you adore me as much if I were poor? No. All you want to be is a lovely widow. It's almost time to lock up the house, and then your party will really begin. I wonder how it will end.
Yes?
It's close to midnight, Lance.
Okay, I'll be down in a minute.
Who is it?
Your host, my dear. It's almost midnight, Nora. We're all going to get together in the parlor room soon.
All right, Miss Lauren. I'll be right down.
Come with us. Come with us before he kills you.
Where's Nora, or Miss Manning?
You don't want to stay here.
Nora, what happened?
Good evening.
Everyone, I would like you to meet Jonas Slides and his wife. You've already met their children, Abigail, Agatha, and Edgar. They've been caretakers here for years. Mrs. Slides is blind, you know.
I'm not going to stay here.
Well, Doctor, looks as though we have a real case of hysteria on our hands.
No, I think she's a little upset, not hysterical.
Good evening.
Hello, my dear. This is my wife. Darling, these are our guests. Ruth Bridgers, Dr. David Trent, Eleanor Price, you know Watson Pritchard, of course, Nora Manning, and this is Lance Schroeder.
Get me out of here.
What about the 10,000?
I don't care. He wants to kill me.
Who wants to kill you?
Mr. Lauren.
May I have your attention, please? I think you all remember the bargain we made about staying all night? $10,000 apiece. If any of you don't survive, $60,000 would be divided up amongst the rest of you. If I should die, you'll be paid by my estate. When the door is locked outside with the caretakers, we'll all be forced to stay in this house until morning. If any of you decide not to stay, you must leave with the caretakers now. You won't have a chance to change your minds later, because there will be no way to get out.
I don't want to stay.
Wait.
It isn't midnight yet. Who told them they could leave?
They never leave before midnight.
Well, they're gone now. I was going to ask you whether you wanted to stay or not, but it seems that the caretakers made that decision for you. We're all locked in here now.
But I don't want to stay.
Well, I'm sorry, my dear. It's too late now.
Darling, haven't you had enough of this silly game? Get some cars up here for these people and let them go home. But pay them first.
This is your party. Remember? Despite my wife's faith in my ability to do the impossible, we will all have to stay in this house until 8 o'clock in the morning. But we have some party favors for you. This was my wife's idea. I must say, I think it's rather dangerous. I suppose you know how to use one of these things, but in case you don't, you just pull down on this lever here with your thumb, and then pull the trigger. You see, they're loaded.
These are no good against the dead. Only the living.
Ruth? Doctor? Eleanor? Lance? Nora?
Go ahead. Take it, Nora.
And here's yours, dear.
I don't need it.
But it was your idea. Who knows? You might want to use it on me before the night is over.
Throw these guns away. They won't do you any good.
I agree with Richard on that point, but not for the same reason.
Dr. Trent, don't you approve of our little party favors?
Suppose Nora had a gun and mistaken a blind woman for a ghost.
I don't think anybody else is going to walk around in total darkness.
Oh, I'm sure we're not going to go around the house shooting each other. Aren't you?
Who knows? Fear makes people do amazing things.
Mr. Richard, you said your sister-in-law killed a man and a woman here and cut them up. You said that they found hands and feet, but they never found any heads. Would you like to see one of those heads? Would you all like to see one of those heads? Well then, follow me. Just go look in my suitcase. Just go look.
It's empty.
But it was in there. A woman's head.
Nora, I think you're a little upset. Would you care for a sedative?
Just get out of here. All of you just get out of here and leave me alone.
I think it's all right to leave her by herself, Doctor.
She'd taken the sedative.
What do you suppose she thought she saw?
They're closing in on her.
Look, Doc, I think somebody ought to stay with her.
There could be a million people around her. But if they wanted her, they'd get her.
What if he's right?
He's too drunk to know what he's talking about.
I wonder. I'll join you in a minute.
Do you think it would do any good if one of you went in and talked to her?
Well, do you really think there was a head in her suitcase?
I don't know.
Thing like that could put me right over the edge.
Would one of you stay up here in case she needs help?
All right, I'll be in my room. Just call.
I'll be in my room as well.
Thank you.
Are you sure there's only 8 people in this house?
Positive. Except for the ghosts.
I'm not afraid of ghosts, nor in frightening women. In Nora's case, it has gone far enough, perhaps too far.
Well, what do you suggest we do about it, Doctor?
Don't frighten her anymore.
Nora? Nora? Nora?
Hello? Hello. I know you're in here. Not afraid of you. Show yourself.
No. Nora. Come and join us, Nora. Come and live in the house.
What do you know about this?
They've taken her. In a little while, she'll be one of them.
Where is Nora? Where is she?
It's too late. You'll never find her again.
Pritchard, if you know where she is, you better tell me now.
She's gone. She's gone with them, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Nora?
Help me get her down.
Is it Nora?
She's dead. Mr. Horn, your wife. She hanged herself.
Suicide.
Nora?
Lance,
Nora!
Lance lied to me.
What's the matter?
He grabbed me and choked me and dragged me from the cellar into that room, and he went away and left me.
Who?
He thought I was dead.
Who did, Nora?
Mr. Lauren.
Are you sure about this?
I don't know. It was so dark in there, but it must have been him.
Has anybody seen you since he left you?
I heard some people in that room, but when I went by, nobody saw me.
Nora, Mrs. Lauren is dead.
How?
Lauren said she committed suicide, but I think somebody killed her.
Him?
Hide, quick, somebody's coming.
Sure you came to the same conclusion as I have.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's all have a meeting. Discuss what we need to do. In the parlor room?
Sure, in a minute. Nora, look, I've got to go downstairs. Now, you go lock yourself in your room and don't let anybody know you're here. If he thinks you're dead, he won't come. I'll get back as soon as I can. You'll be all right. Do you still have your gun? Nora, if you have to, use it.
So beautiful. So greedy. So cold. What are you doing here?
I didn't want them to take her away. They will if you don't watch her.
All right. Out with it, Pritchard. Why did you come into this room?
I'm the only one who understands.
Understands what?
Your wife isn't there anymore. She already joined them.
Pritchard, I've had enough of your spook talk. Get out and don't come into this room again.
What's her name? Nora?
I didn't disturb her since this does not concern her.
No, you're right.
Mr. Lauren, isn't there any way to get out of this house now?
No, none.
We could try breaking out.
The only door to the outside is made of steel, and the bars in the window are set in solid stone. We have to stay with them.
I'm not afraid of your ghost, Pritchard, but I am afraid. When we came here a few hours ago, the only thing that we all had in common was $10,000 that we were going to get. Now, however, we share something else as well. The death of Mrs. Lord. So far, one of us has been mysteriously slugged. Another has been driven to the absolute brink of hysteria. And now one of us is dead. Were these accidents? Suicides? Now we must stay here for another 7 more hours.
7 hours. 7 of us. Time enough.
Who would it be? How would it happen?
Let me ask you a question, Doctor. You were the first to see my wife dead. Did you also see anything she could have climbed up on and then jumped?
No.
Did any of you? No. There was nothing. So how then did she get up there?
Exactly, Mr. Lord. How? She couldn't have pulled herself up there. She couldn't have dropped from the ceiling. Do you think your wife killed herself?
No. She was murdered. By one of you.
Or you, Mr. Lord? To deliberately kill someone, you must have a reason for it.
He's right. We're all strangers to your wife. Only you really had a motive for murder.
What husband at one time hasn't wanted to kill his wife? What husband hasn't had 1,000 opportunities to do it in a way that he wouldn't have been suspected? I am not such a fool as to hang my wife from the ceiling by a rope.
The fact remains that you, or one of us, has murdered her, Mrs. Lord, and that is a matter for the police.
So how do we get to the police?
That is my point. We can't until morning. What began as a silly party gag by given a eccentric has now involved all of us in murder.
For once, David might be right. If another murder is in the works, let's stop it now.
Another murder?
Why not? Maybe one of us saw too much.
Why would a millionaire give us $10,000 to spend in this gloomy old house? To see some ghosts? To have a party? No.
Have you finished trying me, Doctor? And is the verdict guilty of murder?
Stop. This isn't getting us anywhere. Somebody killed Miss Lauren. We know that. One of us is guilty, but the rest are innocent, okay? Now what we have to do for the next 7 hours is protect ourselves from each other.
You really think?
I don't think anything. I just know that I'm going to go to my room, and if anyone comes in, I'll shoot him or her.
And if we all stay in our rooms, we will all be safe because the innocent won't have any reason to leave their rooms. The guilty will admit his guilt, if he or she does.
And we all have our guns.
We're all agreed?
I wish this night was over.
Rooms? Guns? I tell you, it doesn't make any difference. They aren't through with us yet.
Nora, it's me, Lance. Are you okay? Listen, they've all gone into their rooms and locked themselves in.
Lance, I've been thinking. It was so dark in there. Maybe it wasn't Mr. Lauren.
Oh, it was him, all right. He tried to kill you, and he killed his wife.
How can you be so sure?
She tried to warn me, asked me to help her even. The doc thinks he's going to try to kill one of us. Now, there must be a way out of this place, and I'm going to find it and get the police before he does.
I'm going with you.
What if he finds out you're alive? No. Nora, you're safer here than any place else. Now just, please, lock yourself in. Keep quiet. If I find a way out, I'll come back and get you.
No!
Nora, join us.
No!
Come in. Ah, an admission of guilt, Doctor.
Certainly not. Either someone else is in this house, or one of us has left their rooms. Anything a few moments ago.
Screams.
That and someone running.
You got yours? Ready?
You look down there. I'll look up there.
Why not together?
There may be only minutes, seconds in someone's life. Why waste time? It is almost over, darling. Every detail was perfect.
What time is it?
We done it. The perfect crime. Beautiful.
Has she killed him?
Not yet, but she will.
Well, where's Nora now?
On her way to the cellar.
And Frederick?
On his way to the cellar too.
David, are you sure none of them suspect us?
Of what? An hysterical girl accidentally shooting somebody. Who would expect that? That we planned it that way. That we drove her to do it.
Well, what about my suicide?
Just a ghost party gag. We'll claim it as a dummy, since I was the only one who touched you.
And the caretakers?
Well, they want to know what really happened.
Well, what about Nora? She's been stupid, you know.
Darling, believe me, everything we planned is working perfectly. Nora is sure Frederick murdered you. She thinks Frederick attacked it in the cellar, not me. And now she's almost out of complete mind with fear. The heads, the ghosts you're hanging. I'll tell you when Frederick walks in there. She'll shoot him.
It's taking too long. David, you ought to be there.
When you hear the shot, come down to the cellar.
Nora. Nora.
Well, Frederick, it appears your time is finally up.
David? David?
At last you have it all. Everything I have. Even my life. But you're not going to live to enjoy it. Come with me, murderess. Come with me. Good night, Doctor. Good night, Annabelle. The crime you two planned was indeed perfect. Only the victim is alive, and the murderers are not. It's a pity you didn't know that when you started your game of murder, that I was playing too.
I shot Mr. Lauren. He's here in the cellar. He's alive.
You didn't shoot anyone, my dear. I loaded your gun with blanks. I could tell you all now. Trent and my wife were trying to kill me. They failed. They tried to throw me in the vat. My wife stumbled and fell. I'm ready for justice to decide if I am innocent or guilty.
Now, there are 10. There will be more. Many more. They're coming for me now. And then, they'll come for you.
Hey everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our show, House on Haunted Hill. We really appreciate all the support that you guys have given us. Thank you so very much for being here. A huge congratulations to the cast. This was their first show so far of the year. We've been working on it for a very long time, and we're all very proud of them. A special shout out to our tech person, Hannah Garcia, also. She was incredible for helping us with all of our tech stuff, also very last minute. Thank you to everyone who donated also. We very much appreciate it. This cast has been amazing, and we hope you enjoyed your trip to a haunted house. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Amazing.